Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving straight into one of the most wild, yet thoroughly documented military investigations in history, the 1977 Brazilian UFO flap. And honestly, the declassified files we're looking at today, they completely challenge our understanding of reality.
So, picture this. It's 1977. Down in a small coastal area of Brazil, people aren't just looking up and seeing strange lights in the sky. They are literally being hunted by them. According to the official government reports, these intense nightly beams of light were burning straight through people's roofs. They were striking women while they were out hanging laundry, and fishermen just trying to row home. The victims would collapse, instantly paralyzed, and their skin would blister like they were being burned from the inside out. It was so terrifying that the locals completely stopped sleeping indoors. They'd light huge bonfires all night just to try and scare the beams away.
Okay, let's dive into this and ground ourselves geographically for a second. We're dealing with the vast expanse of Brazil, right? But this phenomenon, it wasn't targeting the big, bustling modern cities like Rio or São Paulo.
No, instead the whole thing was centered right on the isolated fishing village of Colares, up near Belém, right at the mouth of the Amazon. It's this super humble, rural setting. Just imagine that stark contrast for a minute. Massive, high-tech, totally silent machines raining terror down on this quiet, low-tech community. These fishermen were so deeply spooked that they just abandoned their boats. They couldn't even go out and fish for their own livelihoods.
Now, the specific physical evidence left behind actually led the villagers to give this terror a nickname. They called it the chupa-chupa, which roughly translates to the sucker-sucker. Government medical officials came in, examined the victims, and completely confirmed these marks. They predominantly struck women, usually on the left breast. These searing light beams left distinct puncture wounds, often just two tiny holes almost like needle marks, surrounded by this brown burn that looked exactly like an iodine stain. And the victims? They reported feeling like their blood was literally being drained right out of their bodies.
Section 1. Launching Operation Plate.
Well, as things rapidly went downhill and local mayors were desperately pleading for help, the Brazilian Air Force systematically stepped in. They launched a highly classified intelligence mission known as Operação Prato, Operation Plate. They immediately sent soldiers, cameras, and radar teams straight into the dense jungle to hunt these lights down. And to lead this task force, they picked Captain Uyrangê Hollanda. Now, Hollanda was a pragmatic, hardcore skeptic. Just listen to what he said in his later testimony. I entered as the devil's advocate. I entered to demystify this. I passed 2 months answering no to my commander. It's absolutely crucial to remember that we're looking at this impartially, based on facts, and Hollanda's initial stubborn resistance really proves this was a dead serious military operation.
Section 2. The Skeptic's Close Encounters.
So, as the operation dragged on, the mounting, undeniable evidence actually began to shift Hollanda's perspective from a total skeptic to a primary witness. His team spent grueling weeks out in the brush. At first, they were only seeing these bright, blinding lights that completely washed out all their photographic film. That is, until a massive breakthrough happened entirely by accident, hidden right there in the negatives. Hollanda was sitting at his desk, super frustrated that almost 2 months of photos showed nothing but bright glare. By pure chance, he placed a film negative over a red-filtered jungle flashlight that he used for signaling. Acting almost like a medical radioscope, that red light filtered out the glare. And suddenly, hidden perfectly inside that brilliant light on the film, he could clearly see solid, cylindrical craft shapes. The lights weren't just lights, they were machines.
From there, things escalated dramatically. It all culminated in what the team described as the 100-meter football. Hollanda and his guys were staked out on a riverbank late one night when this colossal object appeared. It was shaped kind of like an American football and was emitting this blindingly intense blue light. It hovered completely silently, just 60 meters away from the terrified team. Then, the light just suddenly clicks off, revealing this monstrous, solid craft, roughly 100 meters tall, just standing vertically right in front of them in the pitch dark. No way you forget something like that.
Section 3. Gathering the evidence.
Look, we need to remember this isn't some spooky campfire story. This was a highly official, systematic, military intelligence gathering operation. Armed with theodolites to measure angles, professional cameras equipped with massive telephoto lenses, and tape recorders, these soldiers methodically tracked everything they saw. These declassified photographs captured luminous objects in the night sky, and then the military carefully cross-referenced them with official sketches, tracking precise flight paths, altitudes, and speeds. They even tracked these objects diving seamlessly right into and out of the waters of the nearby Marajó Bay.
To put that into perspective, the sheer scale of this operation is staggering. Over just 4 months, the military compiled over 500 pages of classified documents. They took more than 500 photographs, almost all of them capturing some form of anomaly, and they recorded several hours of motion picture film. The team officially documented at least 9 completely distinct shapes of craft operating in the region.
Section 4. The sudden shutdown.
But just as the undeniable evidence of this whole phenomenon reached its absolute peak, we hit a massive, jarring twist. Despite the daily interactions, the huge catalog of photos, and the overwhelming physical evidence of the attacks, the base commander, Brigadier Protazio, ordered the operation completely canceled. Just like that. No explanation given whatsoever. Hollanda and his men were ordered to pack up and come back, and those hundreds of pages of hard evidence were quietly shipped off to Brasilia, where they were buried in military vaults for decades.
Section 5. A chilling final theory.
For years after he retired, Captain Hollanda tried to make sense of what he saw out there, and he drew a deeply unsettling hypothesis directly from his own expertise. See, he was a deep jungle military operative who often made first contact with isolated indigenous tribes. Hollanda knew that when human explorers go into the jungle, we take immense precautions so we don't spread our diseases to uncontacted people. He reasoned that extraterrestrials would face the exact same problem, right? They need immunity to Earth's pathogens. So, in Hollanda's mind, those terrifying chupa-chupa attacks, they weren't actually acts of war. They were methodical, systematic blood and tissue sampling. The ultimate goal was gathering biological samples to create vaccines, preparing themselves for an inevitable future mass contact event.
Which brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought to wrap up our explainer today. If Operation Plate really did document a highly advanced intelligence systematically collecting our DNA to prepare for contact, well, how close is that contact today? Thank you so much for exploring the incredible, documented data behind Operation Plate with me. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you on the next explainer.